Welcome to Vigorous Training. I'm Coach Steve. Today is triceps and shoulders day. But let's go over the pre-workout that I'm going to make. You're going to take, before we start this heavy ass workout, so the base of my pre-workout is Gorilla Mode Nitric. I'm going to take 1 scoop for shoulders and 1 scoop for triceps. Let's see. I need a little bit more. Always got to make sure it's a full scoop, guys. So 1 full scoop. 1 and 2. 1 for each body part. Now this is the nitric without the stim, but I just got the stim version from Derek, More Plates More Dead himself. So this one I will try relatively soon and then give you guys my review. But this time I will mix it with the Gorilla Mind Rush, which of course has a little bit of caffeine in it. So I'll take 3 capsules of that. 3, not 6. 3 is more than enough. Put that aside. I prefer to take collagen protein over whey protein because it has no lactose and it's a little bit higher in the glycine, which is of course much better for connective tissue. So 2 scoops of gelatin powder, which is about 20 grams, 22 grams of protein. And then 2 scoops of collagen peptides type 1 and 3, which is made from hydrolyzed bovine hide. Yeah, it's a little bit of an alternative source, but hey, it's better than getting BCAAs from human hair, right? So 2 scoops of this, and that brings the protein content up to 40-45 grams, which is more than enough for pre-workout. Now, since it's in Thailand and it's really, really hot over here, I take a sodium pre-workout. And this sodium has also potassium. So it's about, let's see, it's 40% sodium chloride and 60% potassium chloride. It's iodized. And since it looks like there's no clouds and it looks like I'm going to sweat a lot today, I'm going to take a whole teaspoon. There you go. Which is probably 5 to 6 grams of salt. Then again, it's not all sodium. It's maybe 500 milligrams of sodium and 700 milligrams of potassium. And the rest is chloride and iodine. So this, you'll see, if you want to mix this correctly, without clumping, you'll have to pre-mix the powders together just to make sure that it doesn't form any clumps and dissolves easily. Plus, you'll get a uniform taste. Now, the problem with gelatin is if you add cold water, is that it starts to clump. Now, Derek's pre-workout dissolves relatively easy, which is very, very good because normally, these, like a pre-workout, what is it? A pre-workout like this, 2 scoops, has 10,000 milligrams of citrulline. And for those of you guys that use a decent amount of pre-workouts in their time, citrulline, beta-alanine, and, creatine and glycerol, all those supplements, all those powders, they draw water. So sometimes you get it at a house and everything is completely caked over. It's just a brick of powder. And that's not the case. This is perfectly micronized. They got a little bit of a pack in there to keep the moisture out. So this one always dissolves very, very easily. So let me mix it in front on the cabinet. There you go. Just add a little bit of water. Stir it all up. Now, I should be using a shaker, which makes it a little bit easier. But right now I don't have any shakers. Because shakers, if you forget to clean them, they'll turn a little bit nasty. So whatever shaker I used to have, I had to toss. And this one is just, see it, so it's all blended relatively easily. And we'll put that to the side so I can prepare all my other pre-workouts. So, for contraction, taurine, 5,000 milligrams, regulates osmotic pressure and just makes sure that I don't get a nasty lower back pump or carpal tunnel and get a very good contraction towards the end of my reps during the working sets. Carnitine tartrate, very basic for androgen receptor sensitivity and binding affinity as well as fat loss. 2,000 milligrams of that. Let me put that to the side. Now, for you guys that have been following along for a while, Ubiquinol. Since I'm only training shoulders and triceps, I'm going to take 200 milligrams. It's not leg day, it's not back day, so I don't need 300 milligrams. Shilajit fulvic acid, 250 milligrams, just to help absorb the ubiquinol. Because just because you take ubiquinol doesn't mean it's going directly to the heart. But in this case, it does. And then 40 milligrams of PQQ, which stands for an unpronounceable word. I'll give it a try. Pyrrolacquine, quinine. It's just say PQQ. It's a little bit easier to pronounce. So that's my pre-workout stack. Let's make sure this is perfectly mixed. Bottoms up. Cheers. Chayo. Great. It's a very nice taste. So, gelatin and collagen taste pretty bland. And I always get like the raw version, so it's not mixed with chocolate or vanilla. Now, the Gorilla Mine I drink is just mango peach, which is not overpowering. And it actually complements, I'm already sweating. It's hot in Thailand, guys. So the mango peach actually complements these collagen and gelatin protein. And even a whole scoop of salt, you don't really taste it. So give that a try, guys. If you're interested in trying some of the Gorilla Mind or Gorilla Mode supplements, you can find my discount code down below in the YouTube description field. Hint, my discount code is Vigorous in all caps. 10% off, give it a try. Let's go train some shoulders and tries. Welcome to Vigorous Training. I'm Coach Steve, and this is triceps and shoulder day, starting off with dumbbell overhead tricep extensions. Now with this exercise, I always make sure I sit a little bit higher in the bench, so my butt is actually not touching the seat. And this way I get a lot more range of motion on the bench, because otherwise the dumbbell would keep hitting it. So when I look in the mirror, I always make sure that the dumbbell disappears behind my head, and that way I know I get the full range of motion. So you'll see me here, I'll scoop up. This is a pretty big dumbbell. I think it's a 50 kilo dumbbell. So I go up, and that way I never touch the dumbbell to the bench, the back of the bench, whenever I do full range of motion. So here you see that it completely disappears. You get 100% tricep activation. And this, I think, is the first working set. I got about 6 reps, which was surprising, because this one was the first real working set after doing triceps again after 2 weeks of fasting. So I have to dump it on the floor. Don't waste your energy putting it into position. 54 kilos for a working set. I got my buddy Tim to give me a spot at the last few reps. And scooping up just to make sure that I never hit the dumbbell to the bench and get a little bit of a bump at the bottom. Now you won't see this dumbbell disappear completely behind my head, simply because the dumbbell is bigger, and of course it's a couple kilos heavier than the 50 kilo dumbbells, so it's naturally going to be a little bit bigger. Unable to completely disappear behind my head, but trust me, the range of motion is just the same. I got a spot in the 5th and 6th rep, and then I had to dump it, because again, don't waste any energy on this exercise trying to put it down nicely on your knees. The good thing about Muscle Factory is always so many good guys there willing to give you a spot. And here I started noticing, I wanted to do a little back off set with about 45 kilos. And I started noticing that I gave all my energy, literally all my energy on that one working set I just did prior. So from this point onwards, my triceps started failing on the 4th or the 5th rep, basically on every exercise. So that happens sometimes, these frustrating moments, you have a body part, and even after 20 years of training, it still might happen where just one day it doesn't click. You get one working set in, and that's about it. That's all you got. And now this exercise is decline, easy bar, skull crushers. And I put it in the ab bench, and then put that on a little incline just to make sure that I get the best possible contraction in my tricep. I push over my head, so it's not going straight up, but it's basically going over and forward, which again, it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the triceps, which feels absolutely fantastic. But it was not meant to be this day, so 2 plates per side, or 2 25-pound plates. Was a little bit too much, so I decided to make it into a drop set, because 4 reps is it's nothing to write home about. So I wanted to get my volume in and just dropped it down to 1.5 plates. And still got 5 or 6 reps, I think, all the way to failure. And there's a lot of swearing in this video because, again, every time I started failing on my triceps, you get a little bit frustrated, you know, because you're expecting to get 5, 6, maybe 8 reps in per set, and then you get 4 or 5, and it's a little bit disappointing. A couple reps on the dips, nothing to write home about. And then here's the Tate press, which, I mean, I've maxed out at 22.5 kilos before. And now I was struggling with 15. And that just indicates that my triceps were completely fried after that first and one and only real set of dumbbell overhead tricep extensions. Here, dumbbells are just caving inwards. It's one of those workouts. And no amount of pre-workout and no amount of PEDs is going to take you out of it. When the triceps are fried, they're fried. So I took a little 5-minute breather in between, reset, looked at myself in the mirror, and gave myself a little pep talk. And then it was time for shoulders. I like to do shoulders completely stationary here in bench, so there's no possibility for momentum. And this really puts a lot of pressure on the shoulders. Now I try to imagine to bring the shoulder attachment in your upper arm to my ears, if that makes any sense. So I'm not trying to lift the weight. I don't even feel the weight in my hands. I'm trying to bring that little shoulder attachment, you know, where the front delt, the medial delt, and the side delt, and the rear delt all attach. And I try to bring that to my ears. So I always make sure that I go to complete failure, so I get the most amount of reps in with full range of motion, and I just keep going until the weight basically barely moves anymore. So that's one working set. This is front raises, and it's again the same philosophy. It's a little bit heavier weight because I'm a little bit stronger in the front raise. I try to rotate a little bit, so I try to rotate my pinkies at the top. So I'm basically going from a hammer curl position to a horizontal position of the dumbbells. And then again, I just take these reps all the way to failure until I can barely move. Now, unfortunately, sometimes I hit my quads a little bit, so that throws off the rhythm. But hey, still got to push through that stuff and make sure you get the most amount of reps. You took a little breather in between just to get 1/2 extra rep. It doesn't really count. Now here with the dumbbell shoulder press, you see that my triceps were still fatigued. And it's actually pretty funny. You know, usually, I remember when I first started training, and then at one point your triceps or your quads would fail, and everything would just cave in. And I'm sure some of you guys have noticed that before. So you do an exercise, you're strong all the way through, and then poof, all the energy is gone, and the dumbbell's almost on your head. And that's exactly what happened here. That's why I was laughing my ass off a little bit, because, you know, it shouldn't happen when you've been in the game for 20 years. But unfortunately, it still does occur sometimes. Again, took a little 5-minute break, you know, catch my breath, took a little bit of sodium in between just to get a little bit more pump and electrolytes in my muscles. Hopefully that helped. Increased the weight to 32.5 kilos and got, yeah, I'm a little bit more happy on this set. But I still caved inwards and filled on my triceps here in the last rep. So, yeah, still got a good pump though. You know, I'm happy with the pump that I got during this workout. I'm sure you will agree. And the last workout is cable lateral raises with the handles on your wrists. So that puts it in a little bit compromising position, especially with these handles, because they're digging a little bit into your skin. But hey, that's part of the game. Again, the weight is not that heavy because it's a finisher movement, and it gives you a great contraction as long as you pull those attachments into your ears. So you don't have to raise the weight. You're just pulling your shoulders into your ears. You get a great pump that way. I think I saw this on Josh Jewett's Instagram page. Tried it out for myself, and you know, the good thing about Instagram is you try it and you like it, you incorporate it into your program. And that concludes this workout. Hope you guys enjoyed. And don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.